to show you how exactly to do your face. Use one of these Wilton flower holders, formers, and I just pop my little head right down in there. The color that I use on my flesh tone pieces is called Copper Flesh Tone, and it's made by AmeriColor. And then I have my two balls already prepared. Those are going to be for the eyes, and then the piece for the nose. You want to prepare these up ahead of time so that it'll give them time to set up and harden a little bit. I like to wait a few hours so that when we put them in, they're so much easier to work with. Okay, first thing we're going to do, I'm using a clay shaper here, and this is just it's got a rubber tip on the end that moves and gives, and I use these pretty much on everything that I create as far as my figurines. Now my head has a crack back here and a crack over here. We're not going to worry about those cracks because the hair is going to cover that up. So right here, this area here is going to be the front of our face, since this is the area that looks the best. So I'll just sit that there, and I'm going to mark exactly where I'm going to put my eyes. And I use my clay shaper just to mark the holes, like so. And you want them large enough so that when you put your eyeballs down in there, they will kind of sit in there recessed. Okay, and then I always just make a little tiny mark where I'm going to put my nose. You do not need to indent that, but I like to just mark the placement so that when I get ready to put that on, I know where it's going. And I'm doing that just so you can see that on film, because sometimes it's hard to see. Okay, now I'm just going to double check the eye sockets and make sure they're large enough. This is a little tiny ball tool that I use, and this is relatively the size of all the eye sockets I do on my figurines. Alright, you want to take a little bit of water and put that in the holes of the eyes here. Now you don't want too much, because what happens is that water lays in there and then it'll soften these little eyeballs that we're using, and they'll turn to mush on you. So just do the outer edge and they'll stick right into place there. And usually the hardest part is getting these picked up without dropping them. And then just pop those right in the holes, like so. And you want them recessed somewhat, because you want them to actually look like little eyes. And I'll use my little ball tool just to push those in ever so slightly. You see that? Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and put some water on the nose area right here where I made this little indentation for you. Let's put a little bit of water there. And I always make just a little ball for the nose. And then I like to flatten the bottom out a little bit. So I like it to be wider than just round, just to give it a little bit of character, but it really doesn't matter how you do it. And I flatten out the back part like this so that it'll stick to my face, like so. Okay? And then you can work on it from there, and I like to squeeze it and move it around till I get the exact shape that I'd like to have on this face. And that's entirely up to you, whatever you end up with, whatever works best. Now looking at that, to me that nose looks too large. Okay, so I'm going to pull that back off and take a little bit of paste away. There's really no exact science to doing this. When I first started figuring out how to do faces, I would just lay out a bunch of little balls like this as the heads, and I would put eyes in them and different noses on them just to figure out what look I liked. So that might be a good idea for you to give a try sometime, just to kind of see what you come up with. Okay, I'm going to flatten this piece out again and pop that right on where the indentation is. And that looks much better. It looks more proportionate to the face itself. Okay? Then to do the mouth, I'm going to use, this is one of the Wilton tools. It's just got the pointed end. And I think I would rather use the larger side. I just place this right inside the mouth here and go to the side, to the side. And then you get a cute little mouth there. Now you can go as far up as you'd like or stay, you know, in one area. You can push the chin area in and give you a different look, or you can go back in with your tool and push down and get a totally different look. However you want that to look, that's all you have to do. Just move it around and try different things. Next thing you're going to need is a black edible marker. And I use this to draw the eyebrows on. And I just make a little eyebrow marks just above the eyes, like so. Okay? And then you need one for the eye color, and I'm going to use a blue color on this one. And now I'm going to just color in just a blue area on the eyeball itself, just right in the center. I'm going to pull this to me to be able to do this, and then I'll show you exactly what I did, because it's too hard to try and do this without looking straight on here. And really you just want a blue circle on the inside of the eye. Okay, and then that's what you have. Okay? And I've got a little bit of blue ink right along the side of the eye here. So what I'm going to do is just take a wet paper towel that I always have handy, and you want to use the corner and roll that up like so. And that's what you're going to use to get down in that little groove to wipe that off, because if you get too close, you're going to smear the work you've just done. So I just wipe ever so lightly along the edge of the eye just to get that blue off. And if you can't get it off right now, then it's okay just to let that set up and dry, let the eye dry, and then come back later with your wet towel and then wipe that off. Okay, we've got a little bit of it off, but not all of it. But that's okay for now. Now the next step we're going to do is we want to color the cheeks of our person. So what I do is I take my forefinger and I color it with a pink edible marker. I just color the tip of it. And then I just wipe that right on. And then get some more. And then wipe right on. And it gives them just the perfect amount of color. Let me hold that up for you. See that? And it comes right together. Now I'll look at it to make sure I don't have some in too much of one area. And then if there is, you can always just wet your finger and wipe it off. And I'm going to put a little bit more on this one side here, like so. And then sometimes I use the other finger just to kind of smear that in. There you go. And that's your little face. So that's how you do your face. Hopefully that gave you some good ideas.